Love you guys. I'm JK, your brother in the struggle.
Mindset question. After months of struggling, I've reached a point where my reboot feels really natural and self reinforcing. I'm doing the morning routine every single day. I'm hitting all the items on my checklist and so on. However, I know that whenever I get overly optimistic, I tend to take the reboot less seriously and I tend to slip. What is the right mindset to have in this situation? You experience some big wins with your reboot. You feel confident, but you still know that over optimism will probably lead to a relapse. For context, I'm relatively early in my reboot, having joined the program back in July. Okay. I think it's good that it feels natural and self reinforcing. Congratulations on that. The over optimistic thing, a lot of brothers can relate to that, right? You guys can relate to it, right? Like you're doing well, and something in your brain says, you got this. It might even say, you're rebooted. Sometimes it doesn't even say you're rebooted. Sometimes it's just like, it's just like this sigh of relief where you're just like, wow. I don't know how long it's been, maybe 2 weeks, no slips, no relapses. I feel good, right? And then you really feel good about that. And then you start acting like a civilian, right? You start acting like a regular person, not understanding that it is the repetition of those things that got you there, right? Gentlemen, here's the important thing. Here's the whole thing about rebooting. Maybe you like it to hear this, maybe you don't. But every I'm without this, I would be a complete loser. I'm speaking for myself. Without the concepts learned in rebooting, I would be a loser. I would be broke. I would be single. I'd be out of shape. I would probably not be a very happy person at all. And the truth is, in the world we live in, gentlemen, not everybody is destined to be in the top 10%, 5%, or 1%, whatever that is defined as, right? But the type of men we look up to and we admire. And I had no special talents. I had nothing, and I had to go out there and learn them. But I also had this addictive behavior, which was holding me back. I had no choice, and some of you guys don't have a choice, but to use my struggle here as a tool to build up the other areas of my life. I could not separate it from the other areas of my life because when I looked at AA, SAA, the 12-step groups, the religious groups, they made the rebooting process, and for them it's recovery. They made it so separate from their life. And I was like, I can't work on that separately. It has to, because of time, right? It has to be efficient. So if I can build up the things that will make me successful, if I can connect fitness to rebooting, if I can connect meditation and my spiritual life to the process of ending my behavior with pornography, if I can connect my social life, my dating life, if I can connect my financial life, everything, if I can make it part of that, wouldn't it be ideal if I could end this behavior and when I come out on the other side of it, however long it takes, and I thought it would take much longer, to be honest with you guys, than it did for me. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I came out and I'd accomplished all those things? So that is what I did, right? So the mindset to have is that this is not a separate thing. If you were working to make money and you were just like, I want to save, I want to have 10, 15, 20, 30, 50K in my savings accounts, but you get to the point where you have only $10,000 in there, and because you've never had $10,000 in your savings accounts, you suddenly stop. What do you think is going to happen, guys? You guessed it. You're eventually going to stop spending that 10K. Your goal was to save 50K, or your goal was to put a down payment on a house. But you keep eating the seed money. That's why we talk about the concept of reboot capital. What is capital? Capital is the revenue that you have that you're going to put into an endeavor, usually a business endeavor. But here we're applying it to rebooting. So as you're building up that capital, things will feel good, right? If you use the analogy of money in the bank, as you're saving, you guys know what it is. It's like it feels nice to save money. But if you get to a certain point where your unconscious mind goes like, wow, this is more money than I've ever saved, let's chill because it's not comfortable. Your unconscious mind is not comfortable having money. Your unconscious mind is actually not comfortable being free of pornography. It's not comfortable being okay. You don't realize this. Its comfort zone is in stress. Its comfort zone is in masturbating. So you think you're, oh, I'm okay. And then you take your foot off the accelerator. You leave, you stop at average. You get to average and you're just like, yeah, you're an average guy. That's your self image. Remember, habits, lifestyle, self image. But you're not growing your self image. You're not pushing yourself. So the minute, and the reason why I'm using this analogy, gentlemen, is so as we're talking about it, you can apply this to every area of your life and ask yourself, where are the areas of my life where I get to a certain level, whether it's with fitness, dating, my relationships with people, my finances, my spiritual life, habits, whatever it is, where I get to a certain point and then I'm okay there. I get super optimistic and I let it go. And why am I doing that? You're doing that because that is the area where you set the thermometer, right? And it will adjust. The thermostat, excuse me. So the thermostat, when the temperature gets too high, it adjusts back to the medium, whatever it is. So my thermostat now is set at like, I don't know, 69, 70. If it goes above that, it's going to adjust. That's what you're doing. You're doing the same thing with your reboot. So defining your reboot and setting very, very clear goals as to where you want to be is so important. You have to be hungry. I got to a point where I was average, and I sat there for like 2 or 3 years. I really did. I was just like, things are good. I'll have a regular life. I'll have a girlfriend. I'll become like a manager. And I worked at Verizon for like a couple of months. Went in there immediately. I became the top 5 people in the country selling for Verizon within like 2 to 3 months. And I was like, this is good. I'll just become a sales manager at a retail store. Average. And I stop right there. But then I suddenly realized, I was like, oh my God, like this is the same thing I used to do in my reboots. I can't stop. I have to keep going. I have to keep building and working on the other areas of my life, or else I'll just become some district manager. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I wanted for myself, right? So I push myself. I set way bigger goals, 10x goals, goals that didn't even seem realistic. You know the saying, right? If you aim for the stars, at least if you miss, you'll land in the clouds kind of thing. Cliche, I know, but that's what I did. And that's what I recommend you guys do, right? So to answer Marco's question, the right mindset is to set a big, audacious goal for yourself. Beyond that, it's not in the amount of time you spent off pornography. You build the reboot capital in all other areas of your life. Trust me on this, because when you start going for those big things in your life, you become more serious on your reboot. Guys who show up here and they're like, I just came here, JK, I just dropped money because I just want to learn how to quit porn, will find it very difficult to do so. You know why? Do you know why? Guys who just drop money and they're like, I only came here to learn how to quit porn. Because you came in a transactional way. Pyre, good guess. You came in a transactional way. You came in to learn one thing. You can come in a transactional way, or you can come in a relational way. What does relational mean? Relational means that you understand that it is going to take some time before you get results. If you come in a transactional way, it means you're giving something and you want to get something back immediately. You don't realize that. But what your unconscious mind thinks is, I'm giving something, I need to get results immediately. So you show up here, and in the first 14 days, when suddenly you slip more than you've ever slipped before, immediately you're like, the program doesn't work. Even though you've been slipping for over a decade and relapsing for over a decade. That's transactional. Relational means you show in, I'm going to build a relationship with people here. I'm going to understand my relationship, not just with my behavior, but my relationship with the world. Because then you start realizing, oh, all these things are connected to my out of control behavior, my poor self esteem, the things that happened to me as a child, my lack of discipline, the way I feel about my body. All of those things are connected to this compulsive behavior that I'm using to deal with something, right? To medicate something. Does this make sense, guys? Are you with me? Is this making sense? I want to make sure I'm not going too deep. Just give me an eye. Reboot Hero says it's an ego thing to say that I want to be free of porn and not really pay attention to the other of your areas of your life that you want to work on. This is true. And you guys got to be very careful. You're the only one who got it. There are like 22 of you guys in here. Some guys are getting it. Let me just make it clear. There are a lot of guys out there who talk about, I'll help you quit porn in X amount of time, right? We say very clearly, we help you control your behavior in 90 days, not we help you end your behavior permanently in 90 days. But the thing that it appeals to people is what and a few other people said, right? Instant gratification. The people who do that sort of coaching are attracting people who wants to end their behavior immediately. And so it becomes transactional. The reason why you don't see many people doing the stuff that I do right now and lasting for over 10 years is because they attract transactional people. The people come in, no interest. The person who is even coaching them is not in shape. That person doesn't have their finances together. That person is only teaching one thing. And so people come in and they're like, teach me to quit porn, teach me to quit porn. But that person will never call them out on their relationship. One of the reasons why therapy also does not work as well in this area, because the therapist in some cases cannot share their personal experience. They cannot do a personal disclosure. So they can't talk to you about, hey man, listen, your environment sucks. You need to leave that relationship. Here's how you text a woman the right way. Dude, you look like shit. And you know you look like shit and you keep justifying it. You need to go to the gym. You need to change your diet, right? You need to wake up in the morning and have some quiet space. You need to stay the fuck off your phone. You need to manage your money. Heck, you need to have someone else manage your money because you keep spending it on strip clubs, chat sites, OnlyFans, and escorts, right? They're not going to tell you those things. So gentlemen, the point is, it is a marketing tactic. Don't get me wrong. There's the marketing aspect of it, but there's also the issue of guys becoming jaded, right? So we're very careful now. When the reboot strategists speak to brothers, they'll ask, who have you worked with before this? If they've been in a lot of transactional courses before they came to us, they may not be allowed into the program because we don't want transactional people. We want people who are here to do what you guys are doing. Y'all are taking the time to show up, to communicate. I respect you guys for doing it because it's so easy to scroll past, right? So again, gentlemen, just to bring it all back, right? To avoid the over-optimism that comes with staying off your behavior, focus on building reboot capital, right? Focus on your entire life, build up all those areas of your life. And as your finances increase, as your spiritual reboot capital increases, as you become more peaceful and more hopeful, as you learn how to communicate with women in an intimate way, as you become more peaceful, as you become more disciplined in your day-to-day life, and you start thinking more clearer, right? Immediately, anytime you slip or you relapse, you realize that it is taking away from the things that have appreciated in your life. You no longer become overly optimistic, right? So stop treating your reboot like it's a separate thing.
Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure that you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to actually get a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men, where you'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I learned over the past 14 years, as well as get strategies for putting together your own personalized reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video to get the free ebook. And thirdly, if you're not sure where you'd like to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, or you'd like to spend time with more like-minded professionals like entrepreneurs, business owners, men who work in sales or consulting or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join the group in the description below this video. And finally, if you need our help right now because you have a burning issue, it's an emergency. Your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally. You're about to lose your relationship and you want to live up to your potential or be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this video that actually says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.